What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Paddy Pimblett breaks silence on UFC contract. Heading into UFC 304 on Saturday, Paddy Pimblett told fans that the bout would be the final one of his UFC contract. From the sounds of things, despite being open to a massive payday to compete against an influencer, Pimblett wholeheartedly wants to remain with the UFC. While speaking to media members on Wednesday, the baddie spoke about the situation, squashing rumors that he was interested in parting ways with the UFC.
Why would I leave the UFC? You know what I mean? That got took so much out of context. Like every single thing I do, people spin a narrative on it and change it. You know what I mean? I can't go for this shit without people talking about it, lad, and spinning it, saying, oh, he on someone's face. You know what I mean? Nothing I do cannot be spun out of context, lad. Like, what I said in the interview was, obviously, the UFC, I'm gonna get a new contract, but if I got offered millions to box some YouTuber, then I'd do it. Who wouldn't? We're prize fighters.
As Pimblett went on to explain, his team and the UFC are already working on ironing out the details of a new contract. With his sights set on winning UFC Gold, a win over Green would insert the baddie into the top 15 at lightweight, setting the stage for a potential top 10 fight next year, depending on how things play out on Saturday night. Next up, let's take a look at Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria confirmed? During the UFC Fight Night Denver card earlier this month, the French broadcast seemingly leaked some big news, revealing that a fight between Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway would headline the UFC 306 card at the Sphere. As it turned out, the fight was far from finalized. However, from the sounds of things, a fight between the two may now be close to a done deal. In a post on social media, Topuria wrote, "It seems that the UFC has forced him to say yes. El Matador is back. Congratulations to all UFC fans." In a post on Instagram, Holloway then teased fans, writing, "Patiently waiting, #BlessedExpress." Several hours later, Topuria then made his own Instagram post, simply writing, "It's time." So far, it's remained unclear whether the UFC will look to book the pair for a fight at the UFC 306 card at the Sphere, or another event. When looking at the upcoming pay-per-view schedule for the rest of the year, the most likely dates for the fight would either be the September card at the Sphere or the UFC 307 card in Utah. Next up, let's take a look at Dana White will allow Alex Pereira to fight Jake Paul? After his win over Mike Perry this past weekend, Jake Paul took the opportunity to call out Alex Pereira and Mike Tyson during his post-fight interview inside the ring. While many members of the MMA community, such as Michael Bisping, weren't too happy with the call-outs, given that Tyson is approaching 60 years old and Pereira is under contract with the UFC, a boxing match between Paul and Pereira may still be a possibility, according to Henry Cejudo. During a recent episode of their Pound for Pound show, Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo spoke about the situation, with Cejudo theorizing that Dana White may be interested in sending Pereira to end Jake Paul's boxing run once and for all.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Like, Pereira would hurt him. Like, Pereira would hurt him. Dude. Like, you see Pereira going up against heavyweights, and of course, dude, if Dana White will give a guy like Alex Pereira the bag to freaking pretty much wipe him out, say, hey man, go out there and hurt him. And I think I can see Dana White allowing Alex Pereira to take out the dirty work.
Kamaru Usman then weighed in on the situation, shutting down any talk of Pereira competing against Paul.
Yeah, no, it won't happen. I just don't think it's Jake Paul, in the name of promoting nowadays, has done a lot of things and said a lot of things about Dana White that I feel that are Kobe Covington-esque, and in that case you've put yourself off to where I don't think Mr. Dana White ever wants to do business with you.
For his part, Pereira decided to tease fans with some news, posting a screenshot to Instagram and asking if he should answer a call from Dana White. While the screenshot doesn't appear to actually be a legitimate call from White, it sounds as though Pereira may be back in action sooner rather than later. Next up, let's take a look at Tom Aspinall goes off on UFC pound for pound rankings. While there's been plenty of debate regarding whether John Jones or Islam Makhachev deserves to sit atop the UFC's pound for pound rankings, Tom Aspinall believes that the entire concept of pound for pound rankings is stupid. Leading up to his clash with Curtis Blades on Saturday, Aspinall spoke with media members on Wednesday to discuss a wide range of topics. At one point, Aspinall spoke about the pound for pound rankings, explaining why he doesn't think they make any sense.
What is this pound for pound? It's a load of rubbish. It's like saying it just doesn't even make sense. Like, don't get me started on that. It's just like, how can you have a pound for pound? What does that mean if everyone's the same size? So how can you compare Demetrius Johnson's style to Brock Lesnar's style and say if they're the same? Like, they've got completely different attributes. It's like,
the pound-for-pound rankings have been a source for endless debates over the years, going all the way back to when Ariel Helwani ranked Fedor Emelianenko over Anderson Silva, much to the dismay of Dana White. Currently, Islam Makhachev sits atop the UFC's official pound-for-pound ladder, with Alex Pereira surpassing John Jones for the number 2 spot after his recent win over Yuri Prohaska. While Aspinall is currently ranked 11th on the list, with a win on Saturday, he could wind up cracking the top 10. Alright fight fans, UFC 304 is coming up this weekend, and it's time to get in on the action. You already know that we're partnered up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you some of the best ways to get in on the game. Right now, we have an incredible offer for you. All new customers that bet just $5 on any of the fights will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. You heard us right. All new customers that bet just $5 and use code MMAZone will receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. If you want, use your bonus bets on a DraftKings same game parlay, where you can combine multiple bets together for a shot at an even bigger payout. Download the DraftKings app now and use our promo code MMAZone only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Next, let's take a look at UFC Fight Updates. Ahead of this weekend's highly anticipated card in Manchester, let's take a look at today's UFC Fight Updates, starting with a lightweight clash between Rong Zhu and Chris Padilla, scheduled for UFC Vegas 97 at the Apex on September 7th. The fight will see Rong Zhu look to make a successful return to the octagon after a 4-fight win streak that saw him pick up a win under the UAE Warriors banner, and 3 more on the road to the UFC. On the flip side, Padilla will be looking to build momentum on a first-round submission victory in his UFC debut back in April. The following month, Marina Rodriguez and Yasmin Lucindo are scheduled to throw down in a strawweight bout at UFC 307 on October 5th. Which will see Rodriguez look to bounce back after a split decision loss to Jessica Andrade at UFC 300. While on the flip side, Lucindo will look to build on a 3-fight win streak that recently saw her defeat Karolina Kovacevic at UFC 301. Last but certainly not least in the way of UFC fight updates, Rinat Fakhretdinov and Nursultan Roziboev are reportedly set to compete at UFC 308 on October 26th. Fakhretdinov will be looking to build momentum on a narrow split decision win over Nicholas Dalby back in June, while on the flip side, Roziboev will be looking to bounce back after a loss to Joaquin Buckley back in May. Next, let's take a look at Conor McGregor roasts Khabib Nurmagomedov. Amid the recent reports revealing that the Russian government is looking to seize Khabib Nurmagomedov's assets as a way to cut into the reported 300 million rubles the Eagle owes in back taxes, Conor McGregor has taken the opportunity to take shots at his longtime rival. After a house owned by Nurmagomedov was listed among the assets the government was looking to seize, McGregor DM'd the Eagle, writing, "Brother, I just put in to buy your family home off government because you can't afford. I plan on big smelly Irish-ish." He then followed it up with a series of messages, first writing, "Brother, I take big ish in your house," before then adding, "Brother, you abandoned from family, and now I take your house for ish and piss." He then concluded his series of messages with one final troll, writing, "Brother, where is the toilet roll?" While Nurmagomedov has remained silent since the latest report this week, he had previously released a statement through his team denying any sort of tax debt. As to whether or not McGregor will try to get in on a potential auction for the home owned by Nurmagomedov in Dagestan, only time will tell whether he intends to place a bid or if the government would allow him to place a bid in the first place, considering he isn't a citizen. Now let's shift gears and take a look at MMA Community reacts to Israel Adesanya body transformation. Leading up to his UFC 305 fight with Dracus du Plessis in Perth, Israel Adesanya has shown off a stunning body transformation on social media, posting photos of himself on Instagram working on his strength and conditioning. In various photos, Adesanya can be seen looking bulked up, drawing the attention of fans. As one fan wrote, "I hope he doesn't dehydrate too much for that weight cut. He looks packed." Another wrote, "Only to be beaten by African champ." One member of the MMA community pointed out that bulking may impact Adesanya when he goes to cut weight, writing, "It's fine bulking up, but then comes the massive weight cut, and with that comes other complications." One member of the MMA community criticized his physique, however, writing, "Skinny 230-pounder." Another was dismissive of Adesanya being 230 pounds, writing, "Did he? Where he said that? He does not look that big, to be honest." Another questioned the decision as well, writing, "Why bulk if he's just gonna cut in a couple of weeks?" With the UFC 305 card less than a month away, it'll be interesting to see if bulking has any effect on Adesanya's weight cut, as some have suggested.